To demonstrate these 10 steps, let's use the consonant sound L as our example. Now the first 4 steps that I listed can be done in a variety of sequences. For example, you can present an analogy later in your explanation, or you can begin right away with it to catch their interest. For example, tell them to picture a large lollipop. Write the words on the board. Large lollipop. To make it more fun, you can have a prop on hand, a large lollipop. How do you eat a large lollipop? Well, I know of only one way, and that's to lick it. We lick a large lollipop with our tongue. This is good to remember. A large lollipop is licked with your tongue. The tongue is key in making the L sound. How is it key? Well, tell your students to picture their teeth, their upper teeth, their lower teeth, and behind their upper teeth there is a hard bump. Now, the tip of their tongue needs to touch that hard bump. That's the correct position for making the L sound. Now the tip of your tongue is up, but the sides of your tongue are down. That's to let the air flow out. The air flows out on either side of your tongue, while the tip stays up against that hard bump. As you finish making the sound, the tongue drops down. So remember the position of the tongue to make words like large, lollipop, lick. Begin by touching the hard bump behind your upper front teeth, and then it drops down to continue making the next sound. Large, lollipop, lick. It may help to picture what's happening inside. So picture this. There's your nose, your lips, your teeth, and that hard bump behind your upper front teeth. The tip of your tongue comes up to touch that hard bump. There's the contact. The air flows on either side of your tongue, but the tip stays up and then drops down. Let's also talk about the position of your lips. They're not stretched out. They're not tight in a little circle. There's something in between. You can watch my lips. L, L. Again, not a tight O, not stretched out, but something in between, a gentle rounding. L, L. The last thing we can talk about is the fact that we use our voice. You will feel vibration here when you make the L sound. L, L, L. You can first practice this consonant sound at the beginning of words with your students in words like let, lake, lift. And you can tell your students to concentrate on the tip of the tongue dropping down to flow into the following vowel sound. Let, lake, lift. Then you can practice L in the middle of words. As in, allow, feeling, silly. Again, the tip of the tongue drops down to flow into a following vowel sound. Allow, feeling, silly. Finally, you can practice L at the end of a word. As in wall, hill, tell. The difference you'll tell your students is that the tip of your tongue stays pressed against the hard bump behind the upper front teeth. As the lesson progresses, you may choose to challenge your students more and more. You can present blends, like sleep. You can present phrases like silly lady. At some point or points in your lesson, you definitely want to present this sound in context, not just in the context of a word or a phrase, but in a meaningful context for communication. I often like to use idioms, proverbs, tongue twisters, expressions. This is a good one. Live and let live. This is great for pronunciation and for discussion. You can ask students, is this what you believe? Believe. Is this what you believe? Is this your philosophy? Encourage your students to use these words, believe, philosophy, in their answers. Some find it helpful to contrast the consonant sound L with the consonant sound R. And in doing so, you'll want to explain how they're different in terms of the position of the tongue, the position of the lips, and are they any different in terms of voicing? So you'll want to explain that with L, the tongue makes contact with the hard bump behind your upper front teeth. With R, there is no contact with the tip of your tongue in any part of the roof of your mouth. The sides of your tongue are down for L, the sides of your tongue are more up for R. The lips are more rounded for R. They're more relaxed with L. L, R, R, L. Let them see the difference. Voicing, they're both voiced. You can then choose to include exercises and games using minimal pairs. Words like long and wrong. The same, except for one phoneme. One exercise I like to use with minimal pairs is a question-answer exercise. I ask a question and the students answer based on their understanding. For example, I could say, "What's the problem? Is it long?" If they heard me correctly, they might reply, "Yes, it's long. We need something shorter." Another question I could ask, "What's the problem? Is it wrong?" If they heard me correctly, they might reply, "Yes, it's wrong. Could you correct it?" Once they understand the idea of the game, they can work in pairs and do this together, taking turns answering the questions. Make a list of minimal pairs for them to work with. A second exercise I like to use with minimal pairs involves a series of words. They're all the same except for one. I say the series of words. The students identify which word is different. For example, I'll say 4 words. They listen closely and tell me which of the 4 is different. Long, long, wrong, long. 3 was different that time. You can try it again and again. How many times do you think is needed to be effective? I'll try it once more. Listen. Wrong, 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 long. Students will identify 4 as different. This is an exercise that can be done either as a whole class with you saying the series of words, or they can work in pairs or small groups, taking turns who says the series of words.